Hey everyone, it's Reed, and you're watching MOI, and I'm here looking at the wonderful storm clouds on the horizon. I enjoy storms, seeing the lightning, the rain, the power of Mother Nature remind us of our simple humanity. It's pretty enjoyable. But since, we got a storm coming, I thought it'd be good to talk about what sort of storm clouds do I see on the horizon as a prepper. Well, let me flip this around and we'll get on that. All right, you guys can see me now. You can sort of see what it looks like in the background. I'm always interested in watching the storms. I just kind of enjoy the weather, how it all comes together, and then pouring rain and everything. Of course, if it starts pouring real bad, I'm running in. Gotta not destroy all the equipment. Everything's expensive. And plus, since I'm like filet mignon to mosquitoes, I gotta keep an eye out. Because, boy, are they ever happy to get you sometimes. Well, for me, I don't know why I'm so special. But let's start talking about, storms on the horizon in terms of prepping. What sort of storms do all of us see out there? And everyone's got their favorite one. I'd love to hear from people. What are the ones you are most concerned about? What's the one you consider the most dangerous? And which ones are you prepping mainly for? Now, when I first got started into prepping, the thing I was real big into, EMP. Still very big into EMPs. I consider them extremely dangerous. And they're pretty much on my top worry. Now, in terms of EMP, the CME is the one that really freaks me out. Because we know it's going to come. We absolutely know the sun is eventually going to release a giant flare, and it's going to hit us. Now, when we terms of, solar EMPs, coronal mass ejection and stuff, that one could destroy the entire electrical grid of the world. Just take it all out. Huge, huge problem. Now, there's solar observatories like SOHO out there, those satellites that are out there in the orbit watching the sun, keeping an eye on everything. And they're supposed to give us a good heads up so we can try to take proactive measures to prevent the destruction of life as we know it. However, there's some limitations there. Plus, there are certain conditions where we could be completely blind and miss a giant flare coming our ways. There's ways that could definitely happen. And I'll go over all that. But EMP, big one on my list. Now, the other thing is, though, nuclear EMP. Some nation out there decides, hey, we've had enough of the USA. To heck with you guys. We're going to send you back to the Stone Age. Now, of course, Russia, any of the nuclear powers with intercontinental ballistic missiles, France even, they could definitely launch one out from over there and just send it right to us and bam, that's it. Big time, ugly problem for all of us. However, I don't think a lot of nations are going to do that. See, if you actually launch a missile, like Russia decides to launch one, we're retaliating and we know exactly who did it. See? Now, I think the big risk is going to be, people that have the small range missiles. If Scud could do it. Bring it in on a ship. Get close to the coastline. Launch. Gets up there. Bam. Now, if you think about it in terms of a small nation, right? And they want to be able to take on the mighty power of the U.S. EMP is a great idea. Honestly is. Because what they could do is they could set that thing off. It's going to be really hard to tell who did it. Because you're going to get into the intelligence thing of projecting technical capability of nations, looking at what was used, who had access to that, what sort of variants, and you're going to need a very thorough investigation. However, if the nation is in complete shambles because an EMP has wiped out the entire power grid, there's all sorts of other problems going on, communication's a mess, it's going to be hard to tell and get an investigation underway that could definitively answer that question. That's going to be really, really darn hard. So, you could easily see why they'd be like, you know what? Let's do that. And see if they render the entire mainland a giant mess, it's going to really, really make the U.S. pull back hard. All our remote deployed bases, all our forces overseas, all these other people, we got to bring them home to take care of the mainland. You're going to leave a skeleton crew out there. It's sort of like, squad tactics sort of thing is like you're trying to go after people with guerrilla style tactics and you got these squads and platoons. Well, you don't kill, you wound. So that way they've got to drag an injured person around, slows their mobility, weakens their ability to respond. They've got medical care that are expended on the person. They're wearing out a lot of supplies. It's a good strategy. So if you got these small nations that have been rumbling, rattling their sabers like that, EMP would be something I'd be considering if I was a leader over there. Because you know they're probably thinking about that. Being able to cause such immense colossal damage to us, and then making it so hard to pinpoint who did it. You know, you're going to need the uranium or plutonium to sort of match it to what reactor it came from and everything else. Yeah. But of course, with the way the politicians seem to love to blame nations and then not give us really any evidence to prove it, they just sort of go, rah, 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 we know it did this, back us for this war. They'll probably blame anyone and try to rally everyone up to say, we got to go to destroy this favorite thing or whatever. Now, of course, if you want to, you can put on your tinfoil and think about all sorts of other things of why that might be done to control and direct the population. That's a topic for another time we'll get into. I got some good tinfoilery that deserves some nice discussions eventually. Of course, I'm certain YouTube will be like, what are you doing talking about that stuff? You shouldn't be talking about that. Even if it is just to speculate, don't talk about it. Now, the other thing that's also way up on my top list of big time worries, pandemic. Let me tell you, we get some disease we're not ready to handle, none of us are immune to, we got no ability to respond to, and it spreads like wildfire, meaning like a disease that's highly infectious and has a very long incubation period. Like if you had a disease that was spread like the flu, you know, coughing and stuff like that, airborne, and then it had an incubation period of like, say, 4 weeks, and you could be contagious the whole time it's incubating, or like 2 weeks of it you're contagious of the incubation period. Ooh, that would be bad. It'd be so hard to contain something like that. And then, of course, have it in final stages be, say 30% deadly. That would be nasty. Shut everything down. The number of people that wouldn't be showing up to work be enormous. People staying home, avoiding everyone, scared to even go out. Critical infrastructure would fall apart fast. Big time worry. It's one of the ones I also am really worried about. And pandemic, well, that's an eventuality, a very inevitable thing that is coming to find us, and something I keep prepping for and worried about. So it's also on the top of my list. And of course, we have things spreading into nuclear war. I have to admit, it's kind of nice. When I was younger, we saw the Soviet Union fall. We saw things start to get friendly between the US and Russia. Then it seems like the deep state's like, let's start going after Russia again. We really need an enemy, and Russia's it. We're just going to go after Russia. Why? I mean, we've made, we have ties to other governments that aren't really that friendly in certain ways to a lot of American ideals, China. And, I always wonder why they got to use Russia as the scapegoat. I guess it's just a convenient one, and the deep state's got some sort of giant ingrain against Russia, and that's what they're going after. So they keep bringing this up. And I do worry that nuclear war is very much an inevitability. The reason why I see that is I think you're going to get someone insane enough to say, push the button. I really do. You've got those weapons, you got this stuff, and I just don't have that much faith in the goodwill of people in a lot of ways that someone's not going to say, you know what, I'm sick of the US, I'm sick of these people, I'm sick of their influence in the world. Fudge it. We are going to see if we can make it out on top of nuclear war. First strike. Yeah, big time possibility in my mind. You can definitely disagree with me, say, Reed, you're out of your freaking mind. Of course, like I mentioned in the earlier video, and here's a link if you haven't seen it, I lost my mind long ago. Sorry guys, it's been long gone, no one's found it. There's a bounty. You can check, the notes. There's a bounty if you find my mind. Let me know. Lee would be very happy. Make her a lot happier. So there we go. Nuclear war. Yep. Yeah. It's one of my worst case scenarios and ugly as heck. Now, actually, strange things on this. If you think about it, I actually think nuclear war versus a nuclear EMP or solar EMP, I think I'd rather take the nuclear war. I know, that sounds crazy, right? Why would I rather have nuclear war? Because a lot of the problem people would be gone. Honestly. I mean, as crazy as that horribly sounds, is that the people problem is not nearly as much of a problem anymore. And I am so far away from the FEMA target projection map. In fact, I'll throw up one of the newer FEMA target projection maps for a nuclear exchange between the US and another nuclear power. And I'm quite happy where I'm at, because north to south, yeah, there's problems. But I got a long stretch east to west that there's a lot of resources that being acquired, and the prevailing winds will keep the fallout out of my area, thankfully. So, on that sense, but there's a lot to deal with in nuclear war, and it'd be horrific no matter what. But like I said, you wouldn't have much of a people problem. As crazy as that sounds, right? Now, what else do I have up there worried about and concerned about? Well, financial collapse, aka Venezuela. Yeah, that's a real good example to watch. And then, of course, there's Argentina in the past. And then, of course, you see Germany after World War I. There's a heck of a lot of lessons to be learned from that. Very important. Now, with the way they keep spending money and not getting a handle on that stuff, and inflation keeps eating away at us real bad, yeah, I see it sort of as an eventuality coming here to the USA. As much as we don't like to believe it could happen here, yeah, it very well could. And it's on the top of my list of things I'm greatly concerned about. Now, see, the USA's had a bit of interesting luck. And, well, not luck, it's by strong-arm tactics that we've been able to control things and manage the dollar's worth in a lot of ways. See, the US dollar used to be on a gold standard. We've all heard that before. And we had to move off the gold standard because basically they found out the USA was lying through their teeth. There was way too many dollars versus actual physical gold that could be out there to represent this. No way. We got galled on our BS by the European. So I think it was France that was like first after us on that. And basically, okay, we got to float the currency. Well, one of the other things though is the dollar is a reserve currency. It's one of the currencies that's used for financial exchange between a lot of other countries. So other countries want to exchange stuff like that. They often convert things into dollars for the purposes of that. That means there's a demand for dollars for us to get stuff done, and it helps keep the dollar having intrinsic value. One of the other things out there that's really important to keeping the dollar worth a lot is the wonderful and amazing petrodollar. And what that means is, Saudi Arabia and a lot of other countries, they basically said, yeah, we'll support your regime, we'll send you resources, we'll give you supplies, we'll do all this other stuff for you as long as you price your oil in dollars. It's basically allowed the US to export a massive amount of our debt overseas to other people and have them take on the burden. It gives our dollar an intrinsic value and means we are able to be horrifically and utterly irresponsible with our money. Now, if some things change, and we're seeing a lot of change going on in the world, yeah, the dollar could come apart. And unfortunately, it could come apart quick. And when you start seeing horrific, hideous inflation, well, it just goes mad. Like in Venezuela, Germany, Argentina. And man, is it going to be horrific. On the plus side, if you're counting on something like that, run up your credit cards to the max amount, because repaying debts back with horribly, hideously inflated money, very cheap. No, don't take that advice. Seriously, don't take that advice. Bad advice. Unless you know it's happening tomorrow, don't do it. But I couldn't resist putting that in there. So there's my thoughts on some of the worst, horrible things that can be coming and what I am worried about. Let me know what you guys worry about. What bugs you? What things keep you up at night? Take care, everyone. This is Reed with an odd, quick video for the day of a simple discussion. Have a wonderful time, and I appreciate all of you for watching my silly channel. Take care. Reed out.